morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jason Currie-Olson. This is my teaching partner, George Hawkins, and we are from Sioux Falls NTAC High School in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We want to spend some time with you this morning talking about how we took a big leap in our class and incorporated student voice and some of the awesome products we saw as a result of that.
Now, as Jason and I set up our classroom, right, we had it down to the last detail, the projects, the schedule, the assignments, how we're assessing, all of it. But we noticed something big was missing from what we were doing, and that was, well, our students' voice in their education.
So we invited our educational coach to come in and say, hey, what are we doing that we could do better? And she said, you remember, you've got all these other brilliant minds in your room. How are you using them? The smartest person is in the room is the room. How do you take advantage of all this awesome knowledge?
And she posed a very simple question to us. She looked at Echo, she looked at our projects and said, why do you have so many activities? And that was a painful question to then actually sit down and reflect. Are they there to enhance our students' learning, or is it there to make Jason and I feel better about what we do?
And that led us to purpose. What were the purposes of our workshops, of our worksheets, of all of the different activities? Were they clear in pointing our students in the right direction, or were they simply there to keep them busy so that we could be quote-unquote good teachers?
And it started very simply. We sat back and we listened to our students. You know, what were they telling us that they needed to know? What is it they needed from us to enhance their learning, increase their buy-in in what was happening in the classroom?
Now, this was not an easy thing. We talked about how hard it is, but the reality is the feedback was not all of our worksheets were as awesome as we like to think. The workshops weren't as pertinent as they hoped they would be. And we had to really reflect at what we were doing and what was really going to be effective to help these students be successful.
And as we did this, we realized the system we had set up was too formulaic, too structured, because we weren't giving our students those meaningful assignments. We were giving them, well, a recipe that they could then churn out, turn back to us, and then appease what, well, we wanted to get from them.
And they were crying out for, pardon the Mel Gibson reference, freedom. They wanted freedom to be able to take risks. They wanted to get outside of this box that we had created for them and show their individuality, their own personality. They wanted freedom to have ownership of their own education, of their own learning.
And change, freedom, it's scary. And early on, our students, and as you can see, didn't necessarily embrace that change. They stayed in their safe bubble. They gave us somewhat cookie-cutter projects and assignments, but as we come to find out, that's going to change as we give them more freedom.
Because while the students played it, some students played it safe, some of them went big. These two student examples actually contacted community partners outside of anything we instructed them to do to get critical friends, to get feedback. And as we saw them go big, we saw some really awesome things and some really awesome end products as a result.
Now, this isn't to say that everything was rosy. There were some big failures. But we found that they were so creative, we had to give them credit for going beyond what we imagined that they were capable of. Oh, yeah. But we also saw that they were using these failures as building blocks to now go beyond what they thought they were capable of.
And a shift started to happen in our students. The students who had played it safe for so long saw the success of the students taking risks and the rewards of those successes. And the play it safe students started to step out of their square box that we'd built for them. And it transformed our classroom.
And as we said, this was painful. Right? When we started, we were right, we thought. But in sitting down, reflecting, and realizing we were doing the wrong thing, and now needing to change what we were doing and transform what was happening in our classroom.
And it was indeed painful. And the transformation wasn't just in Echo, it wasn't just in the way we taught or in our workshops. We transformed our physical classroom. We created creative, collaborative spaces. We redid our entire physical layout because this is what the students needed to be successful. It's what we heard from them.
And some of the things we learned. The first was that the students asked for the gift of time. Yeah. And so we answered their need to knows as quickly as we could, got them the information so that they could have entire days on their own to use as they saw fit. And we found out just giving them that time, it works.
They wanted freedom in their groups, to craft their groups, to hold their group members accountable, to be able to assign their group members activities. They wanted the resources that we had and weren't sharing with them so that they can take control and have freedom in their groups.
And they also told us that when they presented, they don't want to be told what they're going to do. They didn't want to be told how long to present, what medium they were going to use, even what they were going to say in their presentations. That was a little bit scary, what they were going to tell us, what they were learning in our projects.
So our takeaways were essentially this. We had to let go of all of the control that we had cultivated as traditional, typical teachers.
And then listen to what our students were telling us. And how could we incorporate their voice so that we can increase their buy-in in what was happening in their learning and in our classroom.
This is just what we learned by incorporating voice in our student classroom. We'll be here all week. I'm Jason, that's George. We would love to talk to you more about this later on. Have a great morning.
Thank you.